Good morning, everyone. Today's topic is the characteristic of entrepreneurship. Intra, that is on in my book, it's page number 32. Okay, the first one is lack of ownership. An entrepreneur is not an owner, right? He is just a runner of the business, right? The next one, senior position. Point number 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Senior position. An entrepreneur occupies a senior managerial position in the company. He may be a head or a chief executive officer, a CEO, but he's not the owner, right? Remember, don't forget that. Next point, low risk taking. Obviously, he is not the owner of the company. So, he does not bear the full risk of the failure. He is not own boss. An entrepreneur is not his own boss in legal term. He enjoys the freedom and get the required resources and reports and the support system. Understood? He is not the boss. Next topic is the difference between entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship. Okay. What is the first difference? Entrepreneurship is a fully independent enterprise, whereas entrepreneurship are dependent. They are dependent on the promoters, on the owners. Point number 2, capital investment is done by the entrepreneurship, but they don't. On the other hand, entrepreneurship does not invest any capital. Risk-bearing part obviously is done by the entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is free from that. Framework, entrepreneur operates from outside, whereas an entrepreneur is the one who's basically looking after the operation of the company. He is the one who takes care of the company. The entire operation part is taken care by him. So he is the basically framework. He is basically the framework or the frame maker of the company. The next point number 5, on the next page you can see ownership, that's page number 33. An entrepreneur is the owner of the business venture. Obviously, but he is a paid executive. Reward, profit is the reward for entrepreneur, but what is happening for entrepreneur? They get the salary. So again you see the chart showing the difference between entrepreneur and entrepreneur. 5 to 6 is enough, the differences. I think we can discuss some of them. Entrepreneur is independent business person, and entrepreneur is a dependent person, right? Entrepreneur is an owner, and entrepreneur is an employee. Point number 2. Point number 3, he raises finance, entrepreneur, and entrepreneur is not responsible for raising finance. Point number 4, he bears the risk, and entrepreneur does not bear the risk. Point number 5, profit is given to entrepreneur. Entrepreneur gets a fixed salary. Okay, need for security is low in this case, need for security is high in that case. So 5 differences to 6 differences have to be done from here. Am I clear now? Excuse me. On the same page, you have the definition of enterprise. Please underline, enterprise means an undertaking or adventure that requires some innovations and investment and thus involve risk as well. So, that is an enterprise. Now, that much from this learning part, from this teaching part today. I'll be doing all the different stages in the for the company. So in the next class, we'll be starting how the steps involved in the setting up of an enterprise together we'll be doing. So that much for today. I would like you to write into question answers. Okay. Right on. Question number 1. Give some example of entrepreneurship. Question number 2. Give the characteristic of entrepreneurship. Give the characteristic of intrapreneurship. Question number 3. Give the difference between entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. Give the difference between entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. Question number 4. Give the difference between entrepreneur and intrapreneur. Give the difference between entrepreneur and intrapreneur. ENTRE, entrepreneur, and intrapreneur, INTRA, intrapreneur. Okay, now that much questions from this slide what we have done today. I hope you are writing all the question answers. Okay, of course we'll be giving you some extra information on these as well. Apart from my teaching, I'll be giving you some more slides, but right now from this what we have done today, and I hope you are all writing the question answers. Don't leave anything for the last moment. Do write the question answers, because you will understand the crisis of the situation, and that demands you to be little more overprotective right from the beginning. Okay, so see you in the next class. Till then, stay home, stay safe.
Hi there. Business students are nearly all familiar with the idea of entrepreneurship, but what's meant by intrapreneurship? It sounds similar, and it is similar, but there are some small differences. So let's take a look at this concept. Intrapreneurship is very similar to entrepreneurship in the sense that we're trying to encourage people to demonstrate entrepreneurial activity. But the key here is that the activity is for the benefit of the business, the employer, rather than for the person, the entrepreneur, him or herself. A couple of famous examples of intrapreneurship before we explain how it works and what businesses can do to encourage it. If you're a fan or user of Gmail, you're one of the beneficiaries, I guess, of Google's policy of allowing staff to have time at work to work on personal projects, personal ideas. And one of those was Gmail, which launched, 14, 15 years ago. The result of allowing staff to have, I think it was up to 20% of their time to work on ideas of their own. And similarly, the PlayStation, fans of PlayStation should know that PlayStation was actually developed by a Sony employee who'd been messing around with his daughter's Nintendo to try and make it more powerful and user-friendly. And what came from that work, and obviously then developed by the Sony team, was the Sony PlayStation. So, entrepreneurship can work, but let's just firstly consider how it differs from entrepreneurship. If you're looking at entrepreneurship, the key here is to think about where do the rewards go and who takes the risk. So with entrepreneurship, the rewards to being enterprising go to the entrepreneur, the business person, but similarly the entrepreneur takes the risk of the idea failing, the business failing. Whereas with intrapreneurship, the difference is that the risk is taken by the company and the rewards, most of the rewards, go to the business or the company. So, how do you do it? It sounds like a good thing to do. Well, the key thing is not to assume that intrapreneurship will happen. It needs to be encouraged. It needs to be facilitated to make it happen. And businesses have found various ways of doing this. One, as we've seen with the Google example, is to actually provide a policy, a structure of giving employees time away from their normal day-to-day work to allow them to develop business ideas. So as I say, I think with Google, the idea was that they had 20% of their time where they could simply experiment and innovate on their own. Another way is to bring different functions together, perhaps even different teams in different countries together to try to work on innovation projects. That's another way of facilitating intrapreneurship. A third way, which is used by some, is to actually second staff to send them to smaller businesses or startups. It's often said that smaller businesses and startups, by definition, a startup is entrepreneurial. Therefore, there may be something that staff in a larger business can learn from working alongside entrepreneurial businesses. And another way is to hold specific competitions or days or periods of time when the agenda is all about innovation. For example, hackathons, development coding days to try to find ways of coming up with new, innovative ideas. It sounds easy. Why wouldn't you do it? Why do so many large businesses appear not to be entrepreneurial in spirit? Well, I think the answer is culture, isn't it? But almost by definition, a large and possibly a successful business must have a complacency, perhaps, an arrogance about how they've managed to develop their success. Therefore, that might stifle innovative activity, entrepreneurial activity. It could well be that bureaucracy gets in the way, or that the reward systems, how people are rewarded, how they're paid, don't actually provide an incentive for employees to be innovative, to think creatively. And I think you could also link entrepreneurship, or the failure to be entrepreneurial in a business, to short-termism. This idea of really only making decisions that affect the business performance in the short term, rather than perhaps a more long-term innovative perspective, which maybe is more consistent with entrepreneurial activity. So what do you need if you want to be entrepreneurial in a business, i.e. intrapreneurial? Well, I think the answer is culture. It's building a culture that says that being entrepreneurial is the right thing to do, even if you're an employee of a company. Encouraging creativity, encouraging innovation, and communicating and celebrating the activity of innovation, new ideas. There are also clearly things you can do in terms of reward systems. For example, providing some kind of share in the profits or the sales of products and services that arise from innovation. And also being prepared to back employees with their ideas, perhaps with an investment fund or some other financial resources that shows that the business is prepared to invest in creativity. So there we go. That's just an introduction to the concept of entrepreneurship.
Intrapreneur Crucial for an Organization, presented by Eduxit.com. In this video, we are going to learn why an entrepreneur is crucial for an organization. An entrepreneur is crucial for an organization because of the following reasons. They help the organization to innovate a new product or service. They work in accordance with the organization's culture. They work independently while being an integral part of the team structure. They align their thought process with the best interests of the enterprise they are working for. They have great influence on their colleagues. They put their entrepreneurial spirit to the best of the interests of the enterprise they are working for. They work on a win-win situation that covers why an entrepreneur is crucial for an organization. Thanks for watching. Eduxit.com is started to promote effective and efficient learning process to help the students with their learning requirements. We are going to add more and more videos to our channel. To watch all our videos, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. After you have subscribed to our channel, click on the bell icon to receive notifications as soon as a new video is published. Also, please click on the like button if you like this video. Thank you very much. Comparing and contrasting an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur, presented by Eduxit.com. In this video, we are going to compare and contrast an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are employees of the enterprise, whereas entrepreneurs are owners of the enterprise. Entrepreneurs do not bear any risk associated with the enterprise, whereas entrepreneurs are risk-bearing as well as risk-taking. Entrepreneurs are instructed to work on a special project or idea, whereas entrepreneurs are motivated to innovate a new product or service or put an idea into practice. Entrepreneurs use the resources and capabilities of their organization, whereas entrepreneurs risk all their own resources and capabilities. Entrepreneurs' success is at the disposal of the management of the organizations, whereas entrepreneurs are their own bosses and work their way towards their success. Entrepreneurs work for the best of the interest of the organization, whereas entrepreneurs set up the organization as per their interest. Finally, entrepreneurs are growing class of 21st century employees, whereas entrepreneurs are growing class of 21st century entrepreneurs. That covers the comparison and contrasting of an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur. Thanks for watching. Eduxit.com is started to promote effective and efficient learning process to help the students with their learning requirements. We are going to add more and more videos to our channel. To watch all our videos, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. After you have subscribed to our channel, click on the bell icon to receive notifications as soon as a new video is published. Also, please click on the like button if you like this video. Thank you very much.